All right. Hey, Gundam fans, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. Today, we're looking at episode 3 of Gundam 0080 War in the Pocket. This one is called And at the End of the Rainbow. Real quickly, I wanted to call out how cool the Blu-ray art is, cover art is. You know, it has a little keychain of the Alex on the back. He's got his little Gunpla or action figure of the Zaku that's in it. Just kind of a cool little thing. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe. There's a link in the description for a giveaway I'm doing. I'm about to hit 600, so once I do, I'll have 2 items to give away. One's a white Zaku G-frame. The other is something random. Just post in the comments what would you like. If it's something that I can easily afford and get sent your way, I'll certainly do it. But if by the time you're reading this, we've passed 600, there's another giveaway going on. I'm always going to keep them going on. So anyway, yeah, let's get started. Yeah, the last episode ended where Bernie with the Cyclops team are back at Side 6, and they have an Operation Rubicon that they have in play here. And they have these trucks they were able to sneak in on a, I think, civilian or commercial vessel. As Al is walking down the street, he notices Bernie inside one of these trucks, so he starts following them. Cool animation, cool music. So as one of the trucks stop at a stoplight, Al actually grabs the back of it to hang on, but then it goes to make a turn and Al goes flying off, flies into some bushes, kind of scrapes himself. Then he goes to the cops so that he can, let them know, hey, there was a hit and run. He's hoping that this could then lead him back to Bernie, because he just wants to be with the Cyclops team and continue the mission. And so the police arrive at this warehouse with Alfred so that Al can kind of point out, yeah, that's who it was, etc. The police also match the license plate, Al told them, with a truck at that facility. And, as they arrive, they're seen on camera. They kind of go out to talk to them, say, hey, what's the matter? We're just renting this truck. Bernie notices Al, and I'm just wondering what's going through his mind. It's like, I got something else to mess this up. But as the police get inside, things get a little fishy to them, and it's also a little tense here. We see Garcia with his knife, and they even have a gun behind his back, kind of ready to fire. Now, Alfred is noticing this, and he really doesn't want anything to go wrong here, because really the police want to then inspect the vehicles, and the vehicles are going to have the components to the camphor, the mobile suit that they're going to put back together. Al decides to cry out, oh, big brother, I finally found you, to kind of divert the attention of the police, and then he admits, no, it wasn't a hit and run. I just wanted an excuse to have someone take me to my brother. So this is kind of, again, the child being a little crazy, kind of wanting to be involved, and he's just coming up with all these creative ways that are just causing so much trouble, just so he can reunite with not only Bernie, because he has affection for him, but also just being a part of the Cyclops team. He wants to be a soldier. Now they meet in the back office after the police leave, because they're like, okay, whatever, we'll just go ahead and take off since that's your brother. And while they're in there, Bernie is kind of scolding Al, and Steiner is telling Al, you can join our team, but here's the rules. And so obviously Al's excited. He says, 1, it's top secret. You can't tell anyone. And of course, any kid's going to enjoy that. So that was pretty cool. But then he also gives him the badge to hold on to carry. Little does he know it has a listening device in it. And Bernie is even sent to follow Al after he takes him home. And this is so they can kind of keep eyes on him and make sure he doesn't mess up the whole operation that's going on. And as they're driving, Bernie is sort of trying to explain to Al how things just aren't as awesome as you think being a pilot. It can be gruesome. It can be scary. He tells Al that he just needed one more kill, I guess, to be an ace pilot or whatever. But yeah, this is where they're seeing these kind of characters connect, but Bernie's kind of showing more of himself. He's didn't want to really be caught up in this, and Bernie even doesn't like that he's caught up in this, but this is just the way things are. When Al gets home, his mom is getting on him about his grades and to do his homework, and then I guess for plot reasons, she's leaving the house and says, I have to go to the Women's Association meeting. Yeah, and Bernie's outside the house. He has a listening device, so he can kind of hear what's going on, and he sees Al's mom take off in her car. Then there's some commotion going on, and Chris from next door calls out to her mom to call the police because there's a peeping Tom, a creeper, outside of Al's house. Al checks out the commotion and sees who it is. He's like, no, that's Bernie. That's my big brother. And Chris is feeling bad about the whole thing, calls out to her mom not to call the police. But this is kind of an interesting thing now that's being set up because remember, Chris is a Federation soldier. and Bernie is a Xeon soldier, and they're kind of meeting in an interesting way. And next up, we're inside Chris's house, and Bernie's trying to explain himself, saying, yes, I am Al's bigger brother. His family doesn't really know about me. I'm from his dad's previous relationship, yada, yada. They kind of go in the story, and it makes sense, and it works out here. But during this exchange, it's revealed to everyone that Chris is a Federation soldier. Although she says, no, I'm more of just a data analyst. I don't go and fight or anything like that. But then Al calls out Bernie for being a soldier as well. And then he kind of tries to back out of that, trying to say, no, I was drafted, but they discharged me. He kind of just, he's got to keep it top secret. And, Al almost blew his cover. And it was really nice seeing the exchange between Chris and Bernie here. It's because it was kind of an interesting way how they got to meet. Chris is very sorry about it. They're real timid around each other. You can kind of see that there's like this little interest between the two of them. And Bernie is really playing it off very nicely and calmly saying, hey, don't worry about it. I understand it was an accident. Considering what happens at the end of the series, it's really cool and nice to see them here. And as they get going, it's just, just a nice scene where, Chris is saying bye to Bernie and Al. Bernie puts Al on his back and they go running. And it's just really nice, showing kind of the opposite that we normally see in Gundam, where you just see these characters having fun, enjoying life. At this point, Al, we just see him running down the street, super excited, super happy. His friends are kind of geared up to play, and they're like, hey, Al, we're going to go play with you. And he's all like, nah, I've got something I got to do today. And this is actually where we get a cool look at the camphor and the fact that it is incomplete and it's being built. And then there's some exchange between all of the characters, how Al finds out that it's Misha that's going to go, that's going to pilot the camphor and kind of go out on the mission. And Al's like, oh, Bernie should. Bernie's so awesome. And Bernie's kind of embarrassed that he's calling all that out because, he's kind of lied about what he has done. And we get what looks to be some cool mobile suit fighting, but it's revealed shortly after the pilot that gets out is Chris, and she was actually just testing the weapons system by kind of doing a kind of a virtual demonstration or like a training module inside the mobile suit, which is pretty cool and kind of lends to what she was saying earlier, where she's not really a soldier, she's kind of just like a data analyst. A really cool shot here where we're seeing the Alex Chris just got out of it, saying, I don't know how anyone could pilot it, and really, the idea is this is being built for Armor Ray on the white base, and they kind of make mention of that in a way because he is a new type, and so that's why it seems like it's very hard to be able to handle. But really, just the animation cell here just looks really great. Seeing the mobile suit, the Alex, it doesn't have the head on, and also has that Chobom armor on it as well. And we contrast that with the camphor getting ready for battle. It's got its mono eye lit up. Sick looking design. I do have a Robot Spirits review up of that if you want to go back and check it. But the events that are going to follow here pretty soon are pretty cool. Bernie and Al are kind of just out and surveying, getting some reconnaissance to try to find out where this base is that could have the Alex, based on the footage from the camera that Al had. And what's kind of cool about this is, Al's all interested about the operation and looking for it. And Bernie's just sitting back looking at the clouds, his head, hands behind his head. And, it kind of lends back to how, for Bernie, he just kind of, he's not really interested in what's going on. He doesn't like what he's caught up in. And he's just doing this because he's doing it. Whereas, Al, as the child, excited about mobile suit battles and being part of an operation, he's all in. And because of that, he actually locates the base. And so they set off to sneak in. And we get some pretty cool kind of spy stuff going on where they sneak in. They go over a fence, kind of climb down near to the bottom where there's, I guess, some access tunnels at the bottom. And as they're kind of going through the corridors, they're using the map to kind of pinpoint where exactly the area could be that they need to go to. And to get to where they need to, they actually have to go outside of the colony itself, where they're actually in space. And they're going to use kind of a line to get to the other side. You can see here where Al's kind of holding on to the line, Bernie's using to go across, and then Al follows him shortly after. And just a nice little moment where, again, you can see how the animation really shows off how excited Al is. He's actually looking out into space. You could see how his eyes look, the reflection of the stars going across in the music that plays. And it really kind of, again, makes you understand the feeling, a child would have where he's in this operation and he's in a spacesuit and he's seeing the stars and everything. And as the show is coming to an end, we can actually see where Al has found a spot where you can jump up and see where the Alex is under construction yet again. And you see some of the Choban armor here. But there are some Federation soldiers coming around the corner about to sneak up on Al. But that then concludes the episode. So really, to find out what happens next, we'll have to see the next episode. So my thoughts on this episode are, it does a good job of establishing further relationships, the dynamic between Bernie and Al, knowing that the whole Cyclops team knows that Al knows about the operation, so they have to keep him kind of a watch on him. But then Bernie meets Chris, and then we see the camphor being built, and then we see Chris test pilot the Alex and that to gather the data. So a lot of things are coming together, and as the series progresses, a lot more will happen. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like if you haven't, and I will talk to you next time.